please, I appeal to you for help in this my desperate condition. Where does she think that we're gonna get $40,000? Does she think that I just have that laying in my couch? If you wanna make money in this world, you've gotta work for it. You've gotta fulfill a need. You've gotta create something of value that's so cool that people will give you money for it. But what was a sick woman in Cameroon going to create? So here we are needing to raise $40,000 to basically save Chikaordery's life. We've got to raise the money to fly her to America and then pay for her surgeries. So what are we going to do? Last time I talked about how we needed to make something and create some value. And Chikaordery says that she's good at drawing, but how are we going to sell notepad sketches? I thought if only there was a way that we could digitize these drawings, then maybe we could do something with them. But how do you do that in Cameroon? And that's when I thought, what if she had an iPad and an Apple Pencil? What if she learned to draw that way and could email the files? Then we could do things like shirts and books and prints, you name it. So I wrote to her on WhatsApp saying, "You ever used an iPad before?" She said, "No, Mr. Ben, I have never used an iPad before." I said, "There are some really cool apps where you can draw on an iPad. Do you think that you'd be able to do your drawings on this?" She said, "Yes, I think I could. Please, Mr. Ben, is there an eraser on the iPad?" And I was like, wow, she really has no idea how an iPad works. But she was soon going to learn. And I said to myself that I am going to mail my iPad and Apple Pencil to a stranger in Cameroon so she can create something that will help her raise money to fund her surgery. But I soon learned that it was much easier said than done. You see, I went to my friend Matt, who runs a small business and ships products all over the world. And I learned that not only is it crazy expensive to ship something that far, but you've got to deal with customs and taxes.
All right, so the problem is that in order to get it there, the way we use it in order for it to be, under like $300, makes it so you can't mark it as a gift. So you have to put in the actual value, and if you don't put a value, they'll put the value into it. And the federales down in Cameroon charge a 25%. And then 18.7, so that's like 70% tax or something. I don't know, I went to public school. But the point is, it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg to get it there. I don't know how to get it there because they won't let me just mark it as a gift. So we're gonna have to put the full value as the iPad, or they're gonna have to come up with it. So, I don't know, we could probably just fly it there ourselves for cheaper.
So the shipping and the taxes alone was going to cost me more than the iPad was even worth. I thought, this is too complicated. I asked Chikaordery if there was anyone in Cameroon who sold iPads. And she said, "Okay, Mr. Ben, tomorrow my brother will check another shop if there is an Apple Pencil." So the next day, Chikaordery and her brother go into town to shop for an iPad. And unfortunately, there are no Apple stores in Africa, but they were able to find a little pop-up shop selling Apple products. And apparently, the Apple Pencil is only compatible with certain iPads. And the cheapest model that they had available was a 6th generation 32GB iPad for 400,000 XAF. And they even had an Apple Pencil for 90,000 XAF. And then I thought, wait, how much is 490,000 XAF? Holy crap, that's a lot of money. But it was going to be a lot cheaper than shipping and taxes. So I said to Chikaordery, "Okay, should we buy it?" She said, "Mr. Ben, it's you that decide if we buy it or not." And I don't know what else to do to help her. I mean, I don't have the money for her surgeries, but I could scrounge together everything I had to help her out with an iPad. So I said, "What is the best way to send money?" And she said, "Is through MoneyGram or Western Union." So I log on to Western Union and I make a payment to Chikaordery for $800. Then I get an email from Western Union telling me that my transaction is on hold. Why is my transaction on hold? They tell me to call customer service to get it resolved, which I do.
Your money transfer was placed on a temporary hold as a precaution to protect you from possible consumer fraud or scam. Because other consumers who sent money to Cameroon, they've been reported as victims of fraud.
Seriously, can nobody send money to Africa through Western Union? Like, what if I want to hire somebody?
Okay, when was the last time you saw the receiver in person?
I've never seen a person in person. We've just been
how
acquainted.
Did you meet the receiver?
We've gotten to know each other through email.
Thank you. And how do you normally communicate, sir?
We communicate through WhatsApp.
Yes, sir. For this money transfer, Western Union is unable to send the transaction as we believe that you may be a possible victim of consumer fraud or an attempted scam. Money has been refunded, including fees, and it will be credited back to your account.
It's not a
Kindly wait
scam.
for the refund.
This is a friend of mine.
We are not able to send this transaction. Kindly wait for the refund, sir. Transaction is now canceled. Thank you for your time and have a great day.
No, I don't want, I still want to talk to you. Hello?
What kind of a bullcrap customer service is this? So I use another money transfer service, MoneyGram. And after attempting to make a payment of $800 to Cameroon, the transaction fails. So I get on chat support and I told them what I was trying to do, and the person on the other line says, I have verified the details and the security of MoneyGram didn't feel comfortable with the transaction. What do you mean you don't feel comfortable with the transaction? It's not your money, it's mine. Let me do what I want. I'm trying to help someone in need. But then they went a step further. I do apologize, but it seems that MoneyGram Security has closed your MoneyGram online access and discontinued the use of our services. They shut down my account? Are you kidding me? Because I tried to help someone? Seriously, screw you, MoneyGram. What am I gonna do? I have no way to pay Chikaordery. I can't mail her an iPad because the customs people are all corrupt, and I can't wire her money because the banks think that she's a scammer. So I just had to break the news to Chikaordery and tell her that the banks wouldn't help me. And she said, okay, Mr. Ben, is okay. And this broke my heart. It's not okay. We had a plan. She's waited 33 years for this. Are we seriously just gonna give up and call it quits because MoneyGram and Western Union suck? If only there was a decentralized currency that we could send electronically that could bypass the banks. But then I thought, Bitcoin. So I asked her if she's ever heard of it, and of course she hasn't. I mean, I barely understand Bitcoin myself. How am I going to teach her how to set up a digital wallet in Africa? I mean, the only people that use Bitcoin are tech geeks and criminals. But then that's when I thought, I know plenty of criminals in Nigeria, particularly one who's very familiar with Bitcoin. Emmanuel Lucas, my arch nemesis, the guy who's tried to scam me like 20 times, and despite all my best efforts has never done a decent thing for anyone in his life. I really had no interest in ever talking to this guy again, but he was my only hope to get Chikaordery the money. So I begrudgingly reached out and I said, I need your help. And he said, for what? What do you need my help for? Here we go. I said, I have a friend in need and I need to send her money, but the banks won't let me. So I have to do it through Bitcoin, but she doesn't know how. How do I send money to someone in Cameroon? And he goes off about how blockchain technology works and eventually says, why not send it via Western Union? Because Western Union thinks I'm being scammed. And he says, how much are you trying to send? I said, $800. He said, I could have sent it for you, but you don't have it. That's when it hit me, that I could send Bitcoin to Emmanuel in Nigeria, and then he could cash it out and wire the money to Chikaordery through Western Union, and nobody would bat an eye. I said, you mean I can send it to you and you can send to her? He said, if you trust me. But could I trust him? He's a Nigerian scammer. He's stolen money from who knows how many people. But did I have a choice? I went on to tell Emmanuel the full story about how a woman in Cameroon was in need of a life-saving surgery, and he was the only way I could get money to her. And he said, sending within Africa is simple, easy, and fast. So I thought I would test him with a smaller amount. I said, if I send you $50 in Bitcoin, will you send to my friend in Cameroon via Western Union? If you do this, I will send you the remaining $750 to send. What do you think? And he said, I understand you want to confirm my trustworthiness first, and yes, okay, I will as you have said. Do you need my Bitcoin wallet now? Here was the big moment of truth. I used Coinbase to send $50 in Bitcoin to a known scammer, praying that he would do the right thing. But he didn't. He went quiet. 2 days had passed and I hadn't heard a word. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, I get it. It's hard living in Nigeria and you don't feel terrible about ripping off an American from time to time. But stealing money from a woman who is suffering? That just makes you a real human piece of shnikes. And not only is it wrong, it's just stupid. I mean, he could have transferred the $50 to build my trust and then run away with the $750. What a stupid, greedy thing to do. I guess a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. But this was my third attempt to get Chikaordery the money, and I didn't have the heart to tell her what had happened. How could I tell her that our last hope had just betrayed us and run off with the money? It would crush her. But then I remembered. I had one final person that I could reach out to. He was the one guy in Nigeria that I could trust. His name was Tay, and I had hired him a year ago to direct a movie for me. He was honest, he was hardworking, and he could make this happen. So I reached out to him and I said that I was desperate for help. I told him everything that I'd been through and that I needed him to move money to Cameroon. And Tay told me of a bank that I could send an international wire to, and if my bank could get the money to his bank, he could convert the currency and get it to Cameroon through Western Union. So I made one final attempt. I went to my bank downtown. I walked into the lobby and I said, I want to send an international wire of $800 to a bank in Nigeria. And if you aren't able to do it, I'm closing my account and I'm finding a bank that will. And they did it. They sent the wire. And Tay had the money in his account, and then he had to visit a currency exchanger to convert the money from dollars to naira, which finally allowed him to send the money via Western Union. All Chikaordery had to do was present her tracking number and the money was hers. And that's when I got a message from our good friend, Emmanuel. OMG, it will not work. My bank has me under suspicion. I don't know why. Well, I have a pretty good idea of why, you stupid scammer. He said, I will not steal what isn't mine. Please send me your wallet email address. What, he's going to return the money? Really? Maybe he does have a heart after all. Maybe he's changed. And that's literally when I got a message from Chikaordery saying that she had successfully received the money from Western Union and would soon go shopping with her brother. Wow, what an ordeal. I had finally figured out how to get her the money. I told Tay that I was so grateful, and he said, I'm glad I could help out, and I hope that your efforts make an impact in her life. I said they will, but it will be a ton of work for her. Tay said, you've given her hope, and that's a huge step. Chikaordery had finally gotten the tools that she needed, but the quest to save her life was just getting started.